To Advocate Helen's that he wasn't well and asking him to wrap up the points that he was making before Judge Jabuliseni Madondo. But also, if you saw the President and the doc coming in requesting water before the judge moved in, and just the eyes, he looked a bit tired, so you could see that he did look a little bit unwell compared to his previous appearances where he sits up and looks happy, looks around, smiles at his supporters in the gallery. But we'll obviously find out more when he's expected to leave the courtroom shortly. He'll then make his way across unless nothing has changed. But as we know that he is expected to leave the court. We've seen some of the leaders of the ANC that were here and the clergy that were here inside. They have now walked out of the courtroom now, making their way across to where the supporters have gathered, and that is where we expect the former president to go and address his supporters. So we'll be trying on the side plane to get maybe from people who work closely with him, is he still going to be able to go across, or is he not well, and that he might this time have to skip a meeting or at least a meet and greet with his supporters. But just to go back plane quickly, a number of dates that Justice Madondo went through in respect of documents and procedures that need to take place before May the 20th next year, when the case resumes and when we expect the hearing for the permanent stay of prosecution. I'm now joined by Natasha Ramkusankara, a spokesperson for the NPA in KwaZulu-Natal. Natasha, thanks very much for your time. I was trying to also rush through the dates that Judge Madondo said that both the state and the defense teams needed to have supplied certain documents and responding papers. Just take us through the process now.
Well, actually, just maybe we can start from the beginning. Today's matter was postponed to May, and that's firstly for the postponement in the criminal trial. And what was also mentioned in court, that there will be arguments. Remember, both the defense parties have made applications for the permanent stay of prosecution. Those on the 20th of May and following on from that, the next consecutive, 3 days, will be for arguments for that permanent stay. And yes, the judge did go very quickly through a timetable, if you want to call it, of the proceedings going forward, where the state will perhaps, if you want, I can just go through it very quickly. The state will have to supply documents to the accused number one's defense team by the 7th of January, and then they will have time to supply their founding papers by the 7th of February. The state will then have to deliver their answering papers by the 1st of March. Then both defense teams will deliver their replying papers by the 1st of April. And then both the defense shall deliver their heads of arguments by the 18th of April. And the state shall then reply in its answering heads by the 10th of May. So you can see quite a structured way going forward, all leading up to the 20th of May for the actual application and the argument, therefore.
Natasha, we often hear both, whether or not it's the state or the defense, the legal teams, talking about time, that they need time to get to read up on the papers so they can able to put through their responses. Do you foresee any delays now with these dates? Are you certain that both the defense teams and the NPA have decided on these dates, and certainly whatever documents are required and papers are required, they will be submitted on the dates that the judge has ordered?
I would really hope so. Obviously for justice to be meted out as quickly as possible. However, when documents are supplied, the receiving party has then to read it and see if it's sufficient and how they're going to respond. So hopefully, as the timetable is read out, parties will keep to the dates and are able to. But however, as one cannot really say, given the fact that when you receive that applicant, you then have to unpack it and then see if it's sufficient and your response there too.
Just speaking about that, and as I ask that question, I take it from what Advocate Helen for Zuma was saying, his concerns about certain documents that they'd requested from the state seemingly not forthcoming with those documents. What's the response from the state on that, or the NPA?
I would depend entirely on the legal team and when they do produce those documents, given the said date.
The NPA has said, Natasha, from the onset, when we first appeared, and that was still in Durban, Advocate Billy Down for the state saying that they were ready, in fact, to go to trial. That still stands. At any point, if the state case goes to trial, the state is ready.
The state is ready to proceed with the trial. As I said, we just have this application now for permanent stay, which we have to deal with, and we will deal with it accordingly, and hopefully then resume and proceed with trial.
I know, Natasha, that just on the issue, I don't know whether this is the matter that NPA could comment on, but with regards to a full bench, there was mentioned by Advocate Helens on whether or not, did it come from the NPA requesting a full bench of judges?
Not to my knowledge, and if you look at Advocate Downer's response, he said that would depend entirely on the discretion of the judge president, so not really with regard to NPA.
All right, so Natasha, the 20th of May 2019, we will be back. Hopefully all the papers and the documentations and the dates that both parties will submit on time. The 20th of May 2019, we'll be back for the arguments.
It's a date. I'll see you then.
Natasha, thank you very much. And Natasha Ramkisson-Kari, spokesperson for the NPA in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, just taking us through that timeline of dates that both the defense teams they play, as well as the state, the certain documents, supplementary papers, responding papers, and the heads of arguments that they need to have provided to either of the parties. And of course, 20th of May is when everybody will be back here at the Peter Maritzburg High Court. Also, I guess we still have to find out from the judge president with regards to the matter of whether or not it will be heard by a full bench of judges, meaning 3 judges, or the stay of prosecution will be heard by just 1 judge. But there did not seem to be anything coming from the state in respect of that. So we wonder, but that is something that we of course have to engage the Department of Justice on, that whether or not it will be a full bench of judges, just a full bench of judges when this matter is heard on the 20th of May. All right, you probably see now playing in your pictures and now in our viewers at home, supporters of the former president that have gathered outside the market square, and that is where they have been eagerly now awaiting to see the former president, as we expect that once he's done inside court, he then makes his way across where he will address his supporters. Yeah. You mentioned, Blaine, that we heard that he was not well, so we're still actually looking around trying to figure out whether or not he is going to be making his way, but we will give our viewers an update on that as soon as we get it.
Yeah, those supporters seemingly eager to hear from the former president. Apart from him, Ayanda, in terms of addressing these crowds, who else is likely to address the crowds?
If the previous appearances and the program is anything to go by, Blaine, usually the ANC, in fact, earlier on telling us that the program itself would be led by the clergy. We've heard members, it's often or not that it's members of the RET. They will then send a representative to speak on behalf of the Radical Economic Transformation Champions. We've also heard from the Alliance partners as well, COSATU. If the representatives are here, the leadership of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal, often led by Mr. Sihla Zigalala, who is the chairperson. We've also heard from the MKMVA, the youth, and other organizations. The BLF as well has often come out. I did not see their leader today, Andile Mtlhatama. I understand he was in court, so Mtlhatama is often given an opportunity as well to speak and to address the supporters there.
Has there been, sorry to interject, has there been any issues as to who addresses the crowd?
Can you repeat the question, Brian?
I was just asking, has there been any issues as to who addresses the crowds?
The only issue, Blaine, which was raised by the ANC was that they were concerned about certain people that spoke and the messages that they were relaying to the supporters that have gathered out there, which are largely ANC supporters. And we heard earlier on from the Secretary of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal, Mdumiseni Ntuli, who said that they are going to be there as ANC leaders to ensure that the message that goes out to the members who are out there, members largely of the ANC, is the message that comes from the ANC. And if there's any other message that is against the ANC, that they quickly clarify that. So they are there to ensure that that part of the program, of course, does not deviate. And there are people that they've said previously there's been concerns of people then using that to attack the ANC and also attack the president of the ANC, Cyril Ramaphosa. So the leaders of the ANC will be closely monitoring the program, of course, and who will be speaking outside very shortly.
Ayanda, tell us about the security in the area. Is it heightened?
I beg your pardon, Blaine?
In terms of the security in the area, in around Maritzburg, is it heightened? Road closures, etc.?
The security... Yeah, certainly, Blaine, a heavy deployment of police both inside and outside the court as has been. In terms of coming in fact, there's a very strict access. People had to have accreditation, a certain number of accreditation given to leaders of the ANC. So a very heavy police presence around the court precincts. Of course, also the protection around the former president himself and some of the leaders of the ANC that have come out here in court, as well as private security. Members of the SAPS have been deployed as well in their numbers. So there certainly is a heavy police presence, strong police presence outside the court precinct, and as well monitoring what is happening across at the Market Square where the supporters have gathered.
Ayanda, just remind us, I remember when we covered this case together, there were some issues about, people showing their support and using ANC colors. What is the latest with regards to that?
I'm sorry, I'm losing you there, Blaine.
Ayanda, if you could hear me, I was just asking you, remember when we were covering this case, there were some issues with regards to people coming out and supporting the former president, Jacob Zuma, and using ANC colors. What's the latest with regards to that?
Yeah, well, the ANC leadership Blaine issued or rather said that they're not going to bar any members of the ANC from coming out and supporting the former president, but that members do so in their personal capacity. And that's what we've seen. Leaders of the ANC coming here to court not wearing the party colors. But of course, it was very difficult for them, and they'd mentioned this. It was going to be difficult for them to stop the supporters. He is a former president of the ANC, and so people are going to come out wearing the party regalia, and as you can see outside in the Market Square where they've gathered, the colors of yellow and green, painting that square. Supporters coming out wearing the T-shirts with the former president's head, the placard. So there hasn't been much that the party has been able to do about that. He is still a member of the ANC in good standing, a leader of the ANC. In fact, as you know, as the ANC is building or started its mobilization in KwaZulu-Natal Plain for next year's election, the president has been requested to be part of the program. He's already visited Durban, Pietermaritzburg, Port Shepstone on a campaign to mobilize support for the ANC and encourage people to register to vote, but more so encourage people to vote for the ANC. So still a member, a leader, a well-respected leader of the ANC Plain, as members would say, and so in respect of the party regalia, members saying that they are here to show their support for a leader of the ANC, and that's them coming out clad in party colours.
Yeah, when the former president is hitting the campaign trail, Ayanda, what sort of support is he getting? Is he drawing crowds?
Earlier on, we were speaking, in fact, on that plane to one of their guests, and he said that he described the former president as being a magnet, and certainly that is what we have seen. He was in Pinetown, and an early morning blitz. He was in Durban, visiting KwaMashu, Umlazi, the townships there. Quite a lot of people around, very much popular still here in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. So he's really been a nice card for the ANC. In fact, we even at one point said that the party did not waste time bringing out its heavyweights, knowing that he still enjoys a lot of support here in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, and certainly his message as well seems to have been well received. And one of the things that he did speak about during the campaign trail brain so far has been on the fact that he knows that there are people within the ANC, supporters, probably those that are out here today, who are unhappy about this court case, unhappy about how he, as others put it, he was removed from office, but urging them not to use their anger, not to be angry and boycott the elections. Him reaffirming that he is a loyal and committed member of the ANC, and in fact saying where there are any issues that people might have with the way in which the ANC does things and processes in the ANC, that those processes need to be dealt with within the party. If they feel that there's a leader they want to be removed from a position, that is done at conference, but the ANC must ensure that in the next election it gets a 2/3 majority. The party has been taken a knock, you'd know, particularly here in the province of KwaZulu-Natal plain, where it has had a number of challenges. It's still trying to fix itself in the province. Still a number of challenges that are facing the ANC here, court cases, the political killings in the province, and it's largely the ANC that has been affected. And these are the things that he has been speaking out about, saying that the ANC needs to work on rebuilding, renewing, fixing itself, fixing the mistakes, but urging people not to lose faith in the ANC and members to go out and mobilize for the party. That has been his key message throughout the campaign trail. And we know, Plan, we are told that he's going to be going not only in KwaZulu-Natal, other provinces as well have also requested that he come through and assist them in their mobilizing campaigns for the elections next year.
And appreciate your reporting. Stand by. We're going to come to you shortly. I see there's some movement on stage there, but I want maybe Control Room can pick up our poll for today, and it is related to this court case that's happening, and we're asking you.
Yeah, short appearance in court, but a long morning for Ayanda. The poll question we're asking you, Jacob Zuma says he's being used as a scapegoat for the looters of state, and this is in relation to some more people appearing at the State Capture Commission accusing him, making more statements of accusing him for the state capture. 41% of you agree with it and 49% not that much.
I think that's 41%.
41, yes. And let's take a look at